So if you guys will join me today and just as we induct another outstanding group into our Athletic Hall of Honor. As you'll see today, we have an outstanding class of inductees this year. We have a coach who started our swim and dive program in our district. He poured into our athletes for over 30 years. We have a contributor who also was our voice of McKinney ISD Athletics and who has also contributed to our student athletes for over 30 years. Along with those two, we have a 1979 McKinney High football player who later starred at Texas Tech and went on to play in the NFL and the USFL. We have a 1987 McKinney High girls basketball player who was an All-American in high school before she went on to play at Texas Tech, where she starred there and then played professionally, went on to play professionally and is now coaching. We have a 2002 McKinney High School All-American football player who started 39 games at the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. It's pretty impressive. We also have a soccer player who not only led McKinney North to a state championship in 2006, but then she turned around and also led McKinney Boyd to a state championship in 2008, and also eventually went on to play professionally. And last, we have our state championship team, the McKinney Boyd Girls Soccer team from 2008. So as you can see, we are very excited about this class. We are thrilled that each of you have made the journey to join us today and hope that, that we celebrate you and all your many accomplishments. Before we get rolling on introductions, we would like to just pause and take a couple minutes to just thank some people that are in the room. We're going to start with our athletic office. Obviously, today's event would not be possible without the help of everybody in our office. So I'm going to start with Coach Corey Homer. He's our Assistant Athletic Director. If you guys will just stand real quick and let everybody see you. Assistant Athletic Director and McKinney ISD Stadium Manager. He has a big job here. Coach Laura Cahey sitting next to him. She's also our Assistant Athletic Director in the district. We have the ladies in our front office who really run the show on a day-to-day basis. We'll start with Shelly Ladd right here at the front. And then in the back, we have Connie Dow, Shannon Frazier, Courtney Kramer, and Patty Lorissy, our newest member. Thank you, ladies. Other special guests in attendance, you just heard from him a minute ago with our invocation. Dr. Rick McDaniel is here with us, our superintendent. Yes. Members of our school board. I think the two we have here are Maria McKenzie and Mr. Kenneth Ushery are here with us. We also have members of Dr. McDaniel's cabinet sitting with us today. We have Dr. Melinda DeFelice, Susie Woodard, David Spann, Jason Bird, and Greg Settle are all here with us today. And in the back, we didn't put them in the back on purpose. They really do behave, but we have our three high schools represented. From McKinney High School, we have Principal Alan Arbobby. We have Campus Coordinator and Head Football Coach Marcus Shavers. Assistant Campus Coordinator Deb Harris. And their Athletic Secretary Julie Lee is in the back as well, too. From McKinney North, we have Principal Jay Gaskell, Campus Coordinator Mike Fetchy and Head Football Coach, and Assistant Campus Coordinator Jessica Richards. And from McKinney Boyd, we have Principal Dr. Jennifer Pearson, and we have Assistant Campus Coordinator up here who's sitting with one of our team inductees, Megan Wilson. At this time, I would like our Hall of Honor committee to stand for a minute and just to let us just give you a round of appreciation as well, too, for all that you've done for us. Thank you for being here. This process is a year-long process. We start this process in March, and I know they have to put a lot of time and effort into just pouring over the applicant, just the people that we have in front of us, and they select this group year to year. And so we appreciate them, not only just for what they do for the Hall of Honor, but more importantly, just for what they do for McKinney ISD. They do a great job. We also have some former inductees in attendance today. If you are a former Hall of Honor inductee, would you please stand and let us recognize you? I think we have, I know, Mr. and Miss Poe, that's right, Susie Hales, Bill and Coach Harden. Thank you guys for being here. It's always exciting to see people come back. We also need to thank Mike Bruck. As mentioned, he is actually being inducted today. He's our contributor, and he is our voice of McKinney. So he is actually the one that narrates all the videos that you're about to see. But we did let him off the hook. We did not make him narrate his own video. So we did allow him to skip that one. But thank you, Mike. Carla Schumacher and Rob Caldwell for being here today with all our video needs. Yes. She will be videoing today's event, and Hall of Honor inductees, you will be sent a copy of today's video for you to have. You can show your grandkids in one day just how special you are. Kevin McPherson up here in the front, he's our sports information director, and thank you for putting together just all the biographies and the program that is sitting on your table. We appreciate him and all his efforts as well too. And then finally, we'd like to just acknowledge Brian and Josh Cheek from Balfour. They're in the back. Those guys are here. Thank you. They actually donate. Yes, I'm sorry. They donate these Hall of Honor rings and sponsor this event, and that's a pretty incredible gift and memento that inductees get to have every year. So thank you, gentlemen, for doing that, and appreciate your support. So we're going to get started. We know it's a long and rich tradition of success in McKinney ISD Athletics, and so to celebrate all these inductees, we're going to hop right to it. Each inductee will be introduced by a video, and then we'll come up here, let them come up here, and we'll present them with their ring or their plaque, and then give them a couple of minutes to just acknowledge some people that they would like to acknowledge from their experiences. So with that, we're going to get started. Thank you.
Coach inductee Sam Serio. In his 33 years in McKinney ISD, Sam Serio wore many different hats. Assistant football coach, middle school coach, cross-country coach, tennis coach, math teacher, and even assistant bowling coach. But the role most everyone knows Serio for is as a distinguished and award-winning swim and dive coach. His resume would be hard to match at any level of sport. He led McKinney High School to 9 district championships and 4 regional championships in swimming and diving. 15 times he was named District Coach of the Year, and 5 times he was named Region Coach of the Year. In 2001, the Texas High School Swim Coaches Association gave Serio its Lifetime Achievement Award, and in 2016, he was the MISD Coach of the Year. That same year, the district named its natatorium in his honor. These days, Serio spends his time catching fish in Arkansas and looking after his grandchildren, but he remains involved in the summer community swimming program. For his tireless and unselfish dedication to his school and community, the Athletic Hall of Honor inducts Sam Serio as part of the class of 2019.
First, I'd like to thank Coach Ron Poe, the late Scott Johnson, and Mike Hanning for hiring me. I thank Coach Pratt and the committee for giving me this honor. Now, Corey wants us to limit it to 3 to 5 minutes, is what he said, so I assumed he was telling me to go for 5 minutes for each sport I coached. Sorry, Bob, I might be longer than you. To all the parents that allowed me to coach their student athletes, I truly thank them. But before I get into the act too far, I want my family, tables 1 and 10, to stand. All 4 of my kids and my granddaughter swam for me. And my grandson Xander is swimming for me as the McKinney Sea Lions today. Thank y'all. I coached several summers of girls softball. First summer, me and my wife were dating, and we coached the championship softball team in Camden, Arkansas. We had the only team that all girls could hit. I just failed to patent the sock and the rope. I didn't want to chase the softball, so I tied a softball in a sock, and that way they could hit it, and it'd be right there. I coached 5 years of girls volleyball, basketball, and track in Horatio, Arkansas. First year, it was 3-on-3 girls basketball because they knew they couldn't go full court. 7 years of girls and boys tennis. One of those was at the college level while I was getting my graduate degree. My first #1 boys tennis player in Camden Fairview later became the commander of all the Black Hawk helicopters in the first Gulf War. It so happened that the first #1 boy here in McKinney that played tennis for me was also middle linebacker at the McKinney football, Joe Vita. I coached 11 years of boys basketball, 12 years of football, 8 years of boys track. Then I coached 30 years of McKinney High School swimming and diving. And of these, 26 of the 30, I had someone at the state meet. So that's the challenge to my son. And I've coached 15 years of summer swimming, and I'm still counting on that. As Scotty didn't want the sea lion, so he twisted my arm to make sure I got out of bed every day. And Xander is on that team. I was assistant bowling coach for 1 year because my daughter Samantha was bowling. Then Coach Poe had me start the boys and girls cross-country team. Did that for 5 years. Then I had 88 kids on the swim team, so he assumed that'd be enough for one coach, no assistant. So boys was one team and girls were the other teams. So that was my two sport. And I also taught 50 years of American Red Cross lifeguarding. I taught math, physical education, and driver's ed. So how old am I? Again, I'd like to thank the committee and Coach Pratt for this award. Thanks.
Mike Bruck's unmistakable voice has presided over athletic events for McKinney ISD since 1986, the same year he began his legendary teaching career at McKinney High School. Thousands of McKinney High School sports fans recognize his voice for some of the most memorable moments on MISD athletic fields. A consummate professional, Bruck takes his craft seriously, reviewing details hours before kickoff, double-checking pronunciations, lining up player charts, and checking sound. He is a certified public address announcer through the National Association of Sports Public Address Announcers. Girls basketball and volleyball were the first sports he called in 1986. And since 1995, he has been the voice of the Lionettes soccer team. In 1999, he added softball, and in 2001, he took his place in the press box to announce varsity football games. He's been the voice at the boys' basketball games since 2006. In recognition of his outstanding career as a history teacher at McKinney High School, he was named 2003 Teacher of the Year. His students will testify to his mastery storytelling craft, making history come alive. They'll also tell you, if you want to ask him about something in history, make sure you have some free time. Lots of it. He will tell you his family, his wife, his 3 daughters, and his son are his greatest achievements. For his unrelenting dedication to his school, his community, and his craft, and his unequaled part of the MISD athletic experience, the Athletic Hall of Honor inducts Mike Bruck as a member of the class of 2019.
First off, I want to start by thanking God. All the gifts, talents, skills that I have come from God. None of it's of my own. I don't even really work on my voice or anything. I don't even like the sound of my voice recorded or anything. So I'm glad other people do, but I've never really thought it was that good. But God's given me a gift that I use for helping promote student athletes, athletics, also in the classroom. But I also kind of inherited it because my grandfather was an opera singer until the Great Depression made people not want to pay for opera. And then my mom was a professional singer, got offered a contract, made a record, and she turned it down. Did not want to raise her child in that kind of environment. I think we could have had so much money. Vegas contracts, money, showgirls. But I dwell on the wrong things. But no, so I inherited obviously something vocally. I don't know how that works completely, but I'm glad I did. But that comes from God. Also, I want to thank Jesus, my Lord and Savior. I'm a sinner. I always sinned, but I know that because of Jesus, my sins will be forgiven, and I'm really appreciative of that. I try to get better every day, but I know I can't do it on my own. I need help, and I'm appreciative. And I do want to thank my mom. My mom is my hero. I haven't always reflected that to her when I was younger, especially. When I was a teenager, I was pretty sure I knew everything and she knew nothing. But as I've gotten older and had teenagers of my own, I realized that she was right a lot. But oftentimes it was just me and Mom, and she worked however many jobs she needed to work in order for us to have food, clothing, and shelter. And I appreciate that. I never wanted for anything. We may have been poor, but I never certainly knew it. Maybe money-wise, but I never knew that we were poor because she always loved and she always took care of me, and I appreciate that, Mom. I want to say thank you to my wife and my children. My wife, I'm spoiled. I feel like I'm the most spoiled person here today because I'm married not only to my best friend, but to my dream love. I love her to death. We've been married now 26 years, and I don't know what I'd do without her. She indulges my passions of history, which, as the video said, if you make the mistake of asking me something about history, it's going to be a long conversation. But I think it'd be interesting, so you might want to try that. And Bob can tell you, he had me for a class. I think it worked all right. But also sports. She may not be a coach's wife, but she kind of is one because, as the video alluded, I'm a little OCD about preparing for games and sports. I want to make sure that it's done right. Each event really only gets one shot to be done right, and I feel like the kids deserve that. And so I give it my best. I prepare. There are lots of nights in the fall when I'm at school until 7 or 8 o'clock at night getting ready for a Thursday or Friday football game. And then in the spring, when it seems like every other sport on earth is competing, I'm a little busy there too. So she's been Mrs. Mom by taking the kids to their games and wherever they needed to go, and I appreciate that, and I love you, and I thank you for that. I want to say thank you also to my children because they indulge me in that too. They now some of them are working and helping when they can, and I appreciate that. My twins, 18-year-old twins, Annie and Ella, 17-year-old son Adam, and 15-year-old daughter Hannah. All of them are exceptional in their own ways. They all have skills and talents individually. You would think the twins would be more like each other, but they're not. And they have completely different skill sets, and they all achieve, and I appreciate that. I also want to say thank you to my guest today, Mr. Isaiah Joshua. Mr. Joshua was a principal at McKinney High School when I started in 1986, and he was not just a friend, he was a mentor. There were many days when I started that I would go in his office and simply ask the question, I don't really remember any video film from Madeline Hunter talking about what just happened in my classroom. I don't think Madeline Hunter ever dealt with some of the things that we deal with on a regular basis. So I wasn't really prepared for that. And he was not only kind and gracious, he would allow me in and he would just give me advice. And sometimes he would just let me vent. The one thing I remember about Josh, as he's known, the one thing I remember most is he would observe you, even if he wasn't your evaluator, he would observe you and he would leave a note on your desk. And even if you'd done a terrible job teaching that period, he would leave a note, say a bunch of nice things, and it just made you feel so good. And then, here's the trick. He's really good at this. The trick is when you go to say thank you, he would say, now, did you notice anything that maybe you thought you could do different? And he was really good at getting you to, to be introspective about how you were doing and what you were doing and to want to make change. So I appreciate you. You're a good friend. I love you dearly. Oh, and he's the preacher that married us. So he did double duty there. He's a hero and mentor and inspiration to me. And then he also was the preacher at our wedding, which was wonderful. Though I apologize for my wife's sister's joke that she played on you. They played "We've Lost the Ring" on him. He's not very happy about that. But also, I want to thank, this is kind of obscure, I want to thank the man in the press box from when I was in high school. I went to high school in Rogers, Arkansas, and since Mom was always working, I'd just hang out at the football field after practice. And when the junior high games would start, I'd just go sit up in the stands and watch. And one day at halftime of one of the junior high games, the man in the press box stuck his head out the window and said, hey, would you like to announce the rest of the game? Me? I mean, some high school kid. I was a sophomore. I said, yeah, okay, I will. So I went up there and I did it. And it was kind of fun. I came back every week, and every week he had me do that. And I really enjoyed that. And that was the start of my announcing career as a sophomore in high school. I went to college. I didn't do any announcing in college. I never even thought about it. Don't know why. And then I came to McKinney, and the first thought I had was, I really want to help the girls' sports teams. I didn't know anything about Title IX, had never heard of it, but I just felt like, the boys' teams, I've been in boys' athletics all the way through college. In fact, Leonard Harris and I have something in common. We were both recruited to play college football at Austin College by Larry Kramer. Leonard doesn't know that, but I was. Now, unfortunately, when Coach Kramer looked at me, we had breakfast together when I was on my recruiting trip, and he goes, "Now, you like to play baseball too?" I said, "Yes, sir, I do." He said, "You know what, I know the captain of the baseball team. I think you'd like to meet with him because I think you might be a better baseball player than a football player." And that was the end of my football career, Leonard. So, I think I was close to the NFL and USFL, but not quite. And so I knew about athletics, and I always kind of had a feeling that boys' athletics were treated differently than girls because we were always treated like kings. And so when I went to McKinney High School, I wanted to help the girls' programs. And so I asked the volleyball coaches, Sheila Dickey, and coach basketball, Susie Hales, if I could work with them. So I started announcing for them at their home games and keeping stats for them at home and on the road. And my one memory of Susie Hales, I swear to you, when she came up here to get her, she came up to introduce somebody 2 years ago, and then last year to get her award, before I had seen her again, I would swear to you she was 6 feet too tall. She was so huge in my mind because she was such an intense competitor. I knew she was really tall. And so when I saw her a couple of years ago, I was like, okay, no, that's not her. That cannot be Susie Hales. My first year, her last year, but it was my first year, playoff game, I don't remember. My memory tells me it was Jacksonville and that Tammy got her second foul in the first quarter. And I was sitting at the scorer's table, we're at a neutral site, and I just turned to Coach and I go, "Coach, that's her second foul." And Coach Hales turned to me and said, "No, it wasn't." Well, you do what you do. I look down at my sheet and I go, "No, that's her second foul." "Coach, that's her second foul." "No, it's not." So, I'm a man. I got to be right all the time. So I turned to the official score and I go, "How many fouls is that on the, is it 12? 14. So how many is that?" And she said, 2. I looked over at Coach Hales. Coach Hales is glaring at me. And I had to decide how much I wanted to keep my life by whether or not I said anything. I think I'm just this rookie teacher, But she's the most intense coach I've ever seen. And I was really sorry that she retired after that because I thought she was terrific. She loved the girls and you could see that. So I wanted to thank her especially for giving me that chance. I appreciate that, Coach. Thank you very much. And finally, I want to thank McKinney ISD. I can't imagine how much more spoiled a person could be. Every day I get to wake up and do my dream job. I get to go talk history to people that really don't know much about it. And I would do that, again, if I ran into you on the street, that would happen. So it's something I love, it's a passion, and I regret maybe saying this with the superintendent here, but we don't have a quorum of board members, so I feel safe. I can't believe they pay me most days to do this. Seriously, I get paid to teach history. There's nothing better in life. I really appreciate McKinney ISD taking a chance on hiring me 33 years ago, although they did hire me as a German teacher to start the German program. But I get to teach history now. Anyway, once again, thank you to everyone on the committee. I really appreciate the honor, and in the bottom of my heart, I can't tell you how much I appreciate this. Thank you so much.
Senior class inductee, Leonard Harris. In the early years of explosive run-and-shoot professional football offenses, Leonard Harris was just the man those teams needed. Though he was known as a kick returner in his collegiate days at Texas Tech, Harris would become a perfect target for the burgeoning creation of a handful of professional offenses. At McKinney High School, Harris was a 3-sport performer and earned all-district honors in both football and basketball, where he was Sophomore of the Year for Coach Bill Justice. He was part of a 9-1 football team his senior season for Coach Ron Poe that missed out on the playoffs by a coin toss. A defensive back and punt returner at Austin College as a freshman, Harris found his way to Texas Tech and was on the offensive side of the ball. A big game in 1982 versus the University of Houston, in which he caught 12 passes for 240 yards, was a sign of things to come for Harris. Shortly after earning his degree, Harris was fortunate to become a professional as the new United States Football League was beginning play. He joined the Denver Gold in 1984 and was All-USFL in his second season, catching 101 passes for 1,432 yards in 1985. Harris spent the 1986 season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and was a kick returner and receiver for the Houston Oilers from 1987 to 1993, totaling 92 catches for 1,282 yards. He finished his professional career with Atlanta in 1994. Since his playing days, Harris has served as the manager of a supermarket and as the executive in his own corporation. For his versatility and his ability to meet any situation and conquer it, the McKinney ISD Athletic Hall of Honor inducts Leonard Harris as a part of the class of 2019.
Good morning, and thank you guys for coming. Just deal with me for a little while. I'm kind of having a little throat problems, but I'm going to get through this. Excuse me. Let me say congratulations to the inductees that was here previously before me, and thanks and congratulations to the class of 2019. It was my privilege and honor to have played for McKinney football. I had one of the greatest coaches that anyone could ever think of. I had a coach named Ron Poe. Coach Ron Poe was like a god. Coach Poe was a father figure. When I think of Coach Poe, I still see his image. He probably can remember this, him in his blue shorts and his gold shirt. That's the first image that comes to mind when I think of Coach Poe. Also, I'd like to thank other coaches in attendance today that were with me. Coach Crumpton, he's out there somewhere, and Coach Harden. You guys were fantastic. You guys gave me the energy to become the best that I could be, and you guys made me want to persevere and become the athlete and the person that I am today. You guys never know how much you guys meant to me, and I appreciate you guys so much, and I appreciate everything you guys did for me. Also, I'd like to thank the athletic department and the Hall of Honor committee for taking the time to go through the archives to find and dust off this old classic from the class of 1979. It makes me feel good to know that my accomplishments at McKinney High School did not go unnoticed. Also, it's hard to believe that it's been almost 40 years since I graduated from McKinney High School. It's hard to really know how long it's been until recently I started getting things in the mail from AARP. So I know that I am getting old. And I guess, when I got that invitation, I saw where you guys were inducting me as a senior member. And I'm like, I don't think I'm a senior member. But then, of course, my wife was there to remind me, and I said, yeah, of course, you're right. I'm a senior member. And I appreciate everything you guys do for me. Here again, like I said, thanks to Coach Poe and the coaches that were there for me. I also want to thank my parents, Leonard and Polly Harris. You guys showed me unconditional love, and you guys was always there for me. There was not a game that I could go through when my family was not in the stands. And as a matter of fact, my mom probably realizes this. I can still remember when I was at basketball games. Even today, I can hear my dad hollering at me and yelling, shoot the ball. I was a point guard. I can't shoot all the time, but in his mind, he wanted me to shoot the ball every time I came down, and I just can't do that. Also, excuse me, I can still hear my dad telling me and Jamie, I don't know, Jamie was inducted previously, and I think when I got the invitation, they said Jamie was my older brother, but actually Jamie is my younger brother, just for the record. And Jamie was a great athlete, but Jamie could never outrun me until I got to be a senior. That was the first time I realized that he was probably going to be a better athlete than me when we was a senior. He couldn't beat me in anything. And that's because we were so competitive, but he couldn't beat me. But as we got older, he got to the point where he could beat me in almost everything. So Jamie, man, great brother. I love him to death. He couldn't be here today. He had a business opportunity that he had to go take care of, but he sends his regards to you guys, and he wanted me to thank you guys for inducting him into the Hall of Fame. Excuse me. Also, I know in my heart that my dad is looking down on us from heaven and smiling. my dad was so great. He introduced us to sports at a young and early age. There was nothing in sports that I could get that he would not give me. I remember the first time he bought me a football when I was about 4 or 5 years old. And we used to go out to McKinney when it was cold, I mean very cold, and watch the Dallas Cowboys play. I'm kind of dating myself now, but I remember guys like Bob Hayes, Calvin Hill, and I was fortunate enough that I used to watch Craig Morton, and coincidentally, Craig Morton was my football coach when I was in the USFL my first year. What an unbelievable feeling that was to have one of your idols coaching you after looking up to him for all these years. Also, just want to say in attendance with me today are my 2 sons, my oldest son, Leonard, and my other son is Lyndon. He got his family with him. I got my first granddaughter. She's incredible. Also with me is my wife, Angela. She's my rock. She's always there for me. I call her Hollywood, Indiana. Because she's a dresser. She looks good all the time and takes good care of me. Also, my sister Paula's here, and my nephew Carmine is here. I guess I'm getting close to my 3 minutes or 5 minutes, I'm not sure. But let me just finish up here. When I received the phone call from Corey Homer, I started to reflect on my years with McKinney Independent School District. I'm amazed at what a wonderful and exciting time that I had. From my start at Doty High School through my graduation in 1979, I'm just one of thousands with a personal story about McKinney. Every athlete that has put on that blue and gold would love to be standing up here today. And in closing, I would just like to leave you with a few thoughts that I learned from my parents. Number 1, always treat people with dignity and respect. Actions speak louder than words. Silence is golden. And when in doubt, like my dad would say, shoot the ball. Thank you guys once again for this prestigious honor. Thank you very much.
Senior class inductee, Tammy Walker-Brown. Tammy Walker-Brown has carried the mantle of student athlete, coach, mother, sister, teammate, and wife, perhaps more proudly and strongly than any other Lionette in the history of McKinney High School. After all, she's had 14 siblings graduate from McKinney High School, dating from 1987 to 2011. In addition, all 3 of her own children have received full athletic scholarships, and 2 have earned degrees from Rice University and the University of Alabama. But it is the journey and resume of Tammy Walker-Brown that is worthy of distinction. She was a 4-year letterman in both basketball and track for Coach Susie Hales and Dodona Womack. And it was on the basketball court where Tammy Walker made her biggest mark. A 4-year starter and 4 years as All-District, she was twice All-State. And in 1987, she was named a Naismith All-American. 5 times she scored more than 40 points, something she affectionately came to call apple pie games for the pies baked for her by supporter Carol McKinney. Walker's success earned her a scholarship to Texas Tech University, where she played point guard for the Lady Raiders and was on campus with her twin brother, Sammy Walker, a member of the football and track team. During her time at Tech, Tammy Walker was invited to participate in the 1988 Olympic basketball trials. She is still listed in the top 20 all-time in steals and free throws made. Even when her playing days were over, Walker-Brown's successes weren't. She began a coaching career that has made her the winningest coach in the history of Beaumont-Ozen High School. Her teams have won 11 consecutive district titles and advanced to the state tournament in 2011. For her unequaled success on the court and as a member of McKinney High School family royalty, the McKinney ISD Athletic Hall of Honor inducts Tammy Walker-Brown as part of the class of 2019.
I promise it will. It took me longer to walk up here than I intend to talk. I want to start first by thanking the committee for considering me. I give all praise and honor to God. This is hard for me because I'm sorry, I'm one of those weak, I'm one of those criers, but I know how proud is my son. I want to convey to you how important my mother was in my life and the success that I have now is all because of the time and love and energy that she put in. With 15 kids, she was able to make you feel special. That competitive nature that you saw out on the basketball court, it was bred in us from birth. You know, it was always competition. She had a way of making you compete to see who could wash the dishes the fastest, who could hang up the clothes the fastest. We had all kind of competitions, you know, within the house. So that icebreaker helped me a little bit. I know that my basketball team, I'm the head coach at Beaumont United, and I know they want to thank you because I won't be at practice today. They're having a really good season right now. We are 30 wins and 0 losses. So thank you. And it's a combined school because of Hurricane Harvey. Central High School, their building was inoperable, and they just combined Ozan High School, where I was at, with Central High School. But that was like putting the Hatfields with the McCoys. So I think it takes a special person. I believe they were all here for some reason. I know that everybody who has impacted my life in McKinney are definitely the reason, beyond the fact that I had a mother and grandparents that showed me great love, and siblings who supported me throughout. The support I got at McKinney High School definitely has built a structure for who I am as a coach. He talks about that Spitfire. I was looking at my pictures. I look like an angry black woman in all the shots. I'm like, do I really yell that much? Yeah, I probably do. And Coach Hells doesn't know. And I'm so glad she's at my table that I always told people that she retired because she didn't want to coach nobody after me. But I've been in education for 27 years. You know, my grandmother was in education for a long time also. I have 4 sisters who teach school also. In those 27 years, the people who have impacted my life started here at McKinney, from elementary school, J.L. Greer, all the way up to McKinney High School. I pattern myself, like I say, after Coach Dickey's. I always make sure I have cute shoes on game days. I make sure that the girls are in good shape. I don't ever remember shooting. I only remember running when I was in lines, when I was at McKinney High School. But I consider teaching. I have a friend named P.J. Rogers. He goes off on missions, and I consider teaching my mission. It's like the ministry that I have. There isn't one girl that I coach who I cannot relate to in one way or another. I think when you take it in that sense, and it matters to you what type of product you put out in the world, then it doesn't become a job. I love to coach. I love what I do. And I'm very honored and grateful to be considered for this award for my athletic achievements. But I think my best achievements are being a great sister, aunt. I think I'm a good mama.
Greatest mom.
I know I'm a good coach, and all that was the benchmarks for what happened, for the start I had here at McKinney High School. Thank you.
Modern era inductee, Bob Morton. As an anchor in the McKinney Lions offensive line in Coach Ron Poe's last season, Bob Morton quickly caught the attention of college scouts. It wasn't just his size or the holes he opened for running back Dante Hickson that made him a top national recruit. Morton also impressed with his academic success as a top 10 student, as well as his work in the weight room and his leadership on campus. Morton was a standout football, powerlifting, and track and field member at McKinney High School from 1998 to 2002. He was selected as a USA Today Prep All-American and a participant in the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. Morton played collegiately at Notre Dame, where he was a guard and center starting in 39 of his 46 career games. As a testament to his enduring nature, Morton began his senior season just weeks after the untimely death of his father, Robert Morton, himself a college football player at Rutgers University. After his senior year, he decided to forego any opportunities to play professionally, accepting a higher calling. Almost immediately after his final game, when he was part of the senior All-Stars invited to the Hula Bowl in Hawaii, Morton began his career as a youth minister. The thoughts of such a journey had started almost 2 years earlier during a mission trip to Monterrey, Mexico, when he befriended 2 teenage orphans. After a distinguished career as a pastor, today, Bob Morton serves the community and his alma mater as Director of Development for the New England region for the University of Notre Dame. For his grit, strength, ability, and excellence, the McKinney ISD Athletic Hall of Honor inducts Bob Morton as part of the class of 2019.
Modern era inductee. See, here's the thing. There's 2 reasons why you induct a lineman into the Hall of Honor. First reason is because no other football players would be able to make it in if we didn't do our jobs. Second reason is we kind of act as the bridge between like the senior era and the modern era. Because I'm looking at like Leonard and Tammy thinking if we lined up down on the line right there, y'all could still beat me in a 40. So I'm feeling a little senior today. I still got you, Coach Serio. I think I still... So when I was asked who's going to be joining me here today, one person that I wanted to have with me is Coach Travis Smith. Was an offensive line coach for me for the years I was here. And when I told him, I'm going to go, they're going to have a ring, a presentation, and then I've got like 3 to 5 minutes to give a thank you speech, he started laughing on the other end of the line. Couldn't figure out why. He said, "Bobby, you ain't never done a pre-meal prayer that was shorter than 3 minutes. So good luck. Amen." Right? So I had a college coach that told me that anything you do in life fits into one of 4 categories. You've got bad, good, better, and best. And when it comes to people, the best people are the ones that never rest until their bad becomes good, their good becomes better, and their better becomes best. I'd love to stand up here on this stage and tell you that I have earned the right to be a 2019 inductee to the McKinney ISD Hall of Honor by always pursuing that which was best for others and within me, that I never tired of doing that. But the truth is, I have settled for ordinary much more in my life than I have pushed for extraordinary. Matter of fact, the fact that I'm up on this stage would not be a reality if not for a certain few key moments that happened right here in McKinney, Texas. See, I was 13 years old when my family relocated from the outskirts of Boston, Massachusetts to the metroplex of Dallas, Texas. The reason why we moved to McKinney was because it was one of 3 or 4 towns in this area that had what, Mom? We had a hockey team. And so here I am, 6'4", 75 pounds at the time, walking in for freshman orientation, looking for some kind of information about this club hockey team that we'd been researching. It took us down the athletic hallway, back by the old McKinney High School weight room, and lo and behold, we come around the corner, and my dad and I run smack dab into this gentleman who I knew was somebody important, but I had no idea what he did. I ran into Coach Ron Poe. And I asked Coach Ron Poe, is this 13-year-old, chubby little red-headed kid, can you give me any information whatsoever about the McKinney High hockey team? And he looked me up and down. My dad said he looked like he just walked into a steakhouse and saw the porterhouse. He said, "Son, I will give you every bit of information you need so long as you promise to come try out for the football team once." If I hadn't run into Coach Ron Poe, I'd still be skating. I mean, not real well, but I'd still be skating. So I started playing football that day. It changed the course of my athletic career. But see, it wasn't all roses, because just because you step out onto a football field doesn't mean you're good. See, I knew the plays, I knew the design, I understood the offense. But I didn't really excel when I started playing the game. Varsity offensive line coach kind of did a recap of all the freshman offensive linemen. And he talked to my freshman offensive line coach and said, hey, I want you to tell me about 78, Bob Morton. What do you think of him? And that freshman offensive line coach said, listen, Morton's a good kid. He understands the game. He tries hard. His feet are okay. They could be better. But if you strapped an egg on the front of his helmet, the only way it would break is if he dropped his helmet. He's never going to see the field on a Friday night for the McKinney Lions. Now that varsity O-line coach trusted his friend and his colleague, but he also trusted what he saw. And he saw a kid who was a good kid with a good motor, a good head on his shoulders, good feet, and a desire to be better. He lacked confidence, he lacked tenacity, he lacked feeling like he had his fit somewhere on the football field. And so that varsity offensive line coach decided to go against the words of his colleague. He invited this Bob Morton to come and start coaching Little Lions, not only to teach the youth in the community, but also to do a couple extra drills when we were out of practice. This coach started inviting Bob Morton to come and haul bags of pecans off some pecan farm out in the middle of nowhere, because it worked on grip strength, upper and lower back strength, and it taught the young man how to listen. When an old guy tells you not to lift a bag on your own and you do it, he will sit you down and make you remember that night. He told me to come out for the powerlifting team, even if I was just a manager, because instead of just doing off-season workouts, I could travel with these people who were competing every single weekend. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure he convinced a junior girl with a really nice car to take me out for coffee one time. If for no other reason than more than film study, more than time in the weight room, more than running a 40-yard dash, this kid just needed a little bit of confidence and the ability to find his fit in McKinney, Texas. That coach that went against the advice of his colleague, that coach who invested a heck of a lot of time with no promise of reward, that coach who served as a father figure for all those years in high school and beyond is Coach Travis Smith. And I owe you so much more than anything I've ever done on or off the field. I'm very appreciative of you. You see, what Coach Smith did was he made sure that he would never rest so long as I was settling for ordinary. And I learned somewhere along the way that each and every one of us has to be willing to let go of that which is ordinary in order to own something inside of ourselves that is extraordinary. And it happens every single day. Every single day, we need to intentionally miss opportunities to be average. We can't just do that on our own. I had people like Coach Poe, who was ready to steer me to the football field. I had somebody like Coach Smith, who was ready to shift my focus on everything athletically and beyond. I had Coach Steve Hale, who reminded me every single day that he would rather be dead than red on the head. But he also told me that if I would just work a little bit more on my feet, I had a chance to go do something special. Coach Hale, I think I did something special. I had amazing parents, mom and dad, my dad, rest in peace, invested a whole lot of time, effort, and energy in me that I probably did not deserve. I had a brother who, I'm ready to admit, I sent to the emergency room for stitches 3 times, and it was all my fault. But if you were a little quicker, you could have avoided it. I thank my incredible family because they were with me through all of the days, the good days, the bad days, the days when I wanted to be nothing more than average. I want to thank my wife, Heather, my sons, Celie and Deacon, my daughter, Calliope. Every single day, they help me try and be a little bit more than ordinary And they deal with me when I'm driving 20 hours from South Bend, Indiana, to get here back in McKinney. It means a lot to be recognized as an offensive lineman who found his fit with one of the greatest high school football teams in Texas, made some of the best memories anybody could ever hope for. I'm thankful for my coaches, my teachers, McKinney High School, go Lions, the original McKinney High School, McKinney ISD as a whole. Thankful to the Hall of Honor for the induction committee. I don't deserve this, and maybe after this time you'll never elect another offensive lineman and I can be the only one. But all that to say, thank you, go Irish, go McKinney, go Lions. Great day.
Modern era inductee, Kat Williamson. Perhaps no other female soccer player in McKinney ISD history has experienced as much success as Kat Williamson. She's won titles and received individual honors at every level in which she has participated, including 2 state championships at 2 different campuses. Among her high school accolades are the Dallas Morning News All-Area Girls First Team, All-District First Team, and All-Region First Team. She was a member of the McKinney North 4A State Championship Team in 2006 and the McKinney Boyd State Championship Team in 2008. Williamson continued her career at the University of Florida, where she was named to the SEC All-Freshman Team, SEC Defensive Player of the Year, twice to the All-SEC First Team, and twice was named All-American. In 2013, Williamson was drafted by the Portland Thorns in the inaugural season of the National Women's Soccer League, playing center back for the league champion team in the first season. She played for New York in 2014 and was back in Portland in 2015 and 2016 before retiring from soccer. Today, Williamson works in the Jordan Brand division of Nike World Headquarters in Portland. For her tireless pursuit of excellence and her enduring representation of the championship spirit, McKinney ISD Athletic Hall of Honor inducts Kat Williamson as part of the class of 2019.
First off, why did I have to follow him? God, you're setting me up for failure. I'd first like to thank Coach Pratt, Corey Homer, Shelley Ladd, and the entire committee who helped make today possible. Thank you. I'm incredibly humbled to be recognized amongst the other inductees and to have had the opportunity to represent McKinney over the course of my high school career. I want to start by thanking my family for their unwavering support for 20 plus years of my soccer career and beyond, to my mom throughout the countless tournaments, practices, physical therapy sessions. Your love and support means far more than you know. Thank you to my entire family for picking me up when I needed it, for encouraging me to step outside of my comfort zone. For example, my stepsister Shauna trying out for the McKinney North High School team in 2005 with me, because I was too terrified to go alone. Thank you for that. To my oldest sisters, Carrie and Erin, thank you for embracing my dream to be just like you and for beating me up on the soccer field given the 6 and 9 year age gap. All that I am is a culmination of my family, and for that, I am forever grateful. To Coach Langford, thank you for putting up with Kat Cox, Kat Wright, myself, and Lindsay Mumper for 4 years. That is not an easy task. As you know, the thing I love about you most is you have a gift of understanding how to motivate even the most stubborn of players. And I know we wouldn't have had any success without your deep understanding of what made each of us tick and how to get the best out of us every single day. To McKinney and probably the nation's most talented athletic trainer, Lil. She can't be here today because she's busy in China prepping for the World Cup. Yes, that is a real statement. You helped me believe in myself again when I was at rock bottom. It takes a special human to motivate an athlete when they're unable to walk due to injury and they're unexpectedly taken away from the sport that they know and love. I truly believe I wouldn't have had the chance to continue to play at the next level without your help and belief in me. To my club coaches, Megan Wilson and Hugh Bradford, I couldn't have accomplished what I have today without either of you. You taught me what it means to win with humility and lose with grace. You taught me what it means to be a fearless competitor. and not to be afraid to fail, because oftentimes that's where life's most important lessons lie. Lessons that extend far beyond the soccer field and have aided me into my transition after retirement. Lastly, to all of my teammates over the years, thank you. Individual accolades are always nice, but I would be remiss not to recognize the fact that soccer is the definition of a team sport. One person can't win a game, especially a defender like myself. So thank you for your encouragement when I needed it most and your hard work when I physically couldn't be on the field. There's no better example than winning 2 state championships when I was on the bench recovering from both my ACL surgeries. So thank you. And this is an honor and a privilege. Go Broncos.
The 2008 McKinney Boyd Girls Soccer team became the 3rd state champion for McKinney ISD and helped cement the city's place as the soccer capital of North Texas. The Lady Broncos were a collection of talent, leadership, and experience that seemed destined for the ultimate prize in high school athletics. In the playoffs, the Lady Broncos outscored their first 4 opponents 27-1, and Boyd finished with an impressive 23-2-1 record, rolling to the state championship with convincing 3-1 victories over perennial state qualifiers Friendswood and Wichita Falls Rider. The Broncos were led by all-state tournament selections Kelly Minogue, Emily Reed, Catherine Cox, and Megan Strait. All 4 would go on to play soccer collegiately. The Lady Broncos were coached by Jimmy Langford, who also led McKinney North to a state championship in 2006. For extending the legacy of McKinney soccer history and for its magical season, the Athletic Hall of Honor inducts the 2008 McKinney Boyd Girls Soccer team as part of the class of 2019.
When I found out this team was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, I thought, this is a wonderful honor for these girls. First off, I'd like to thank Dr. Rick McDaniel. We opened Boyd together. He entertained a lot of crazy ideas. I know the first day I walked out to practice, if y'all don't know, we had a mix of McKinney High and a McKinney North team. We had players that had both won championships there. And honestly, when I walked out there the first day, I thought, oh no, we're fixing to have a gunfight at the OK Corral. Just glad we didn't have guns or knives. But we came up with a lot of ideas on how to bring this team together, how to make the team in 2007 really become McKinney Boyd. And I do want to thank you for supporting a lot of crazy ideas. And Dr. Pearson back there, thank you as well. I'd like to thank Coach Pratt and the athletic staff for recognizing this team. They were a special team. As Kat said, they were a very hard-headed team. They had a lot of things that they did well, and they had a lot of things that we had a hard time changing in them. And a couple of stories about them that kind of exemplify this team and the things that they did. We're playing in a tournament at Katy Seven Lakes. I think we're 0-0 or 1-1. Emily Reed is dribbling down the field, and she swings to hit a ball and misses it. The entire Katy Seven Lakes team is in the stands, and they start heckling her. I mean, it's to the point where our parents are about to walk over there. As I start to turn around, I see Emily get the ball about 60 yards from goal. She beats 5 people, turns, and hits a laser into the upper 90 back post. She turns and faces them and goes, not another word from them. That team was special. They had a drive, a work ethic. They were not going to lose. I know the record says they lost 2 games. They didn't lose 2 games. I had to go to them 3 days before our last district game and let them know we had to forfeit 2 games. I had forgot to put a player on a UIL form who had come back from injury, and she played in a couple of games we had to forfeit. So that team physically did not lose a game on the field. They gave up less goals that year than any team I've ever had. The drive they had was incredible. In the state final, we're playing Wichita Falls Rider. We're not playing very well. We're struggling. Catherine Cox catches me at halftime. She goes, "Coach, put me up front." I'm like, "No, you're my central back. You're not going up front. You're crazy." She goes on and on and on. "Catherine, you're playing defense." We're walking down the tunnel back to the field, and she catches me one more time. She goes, "Put me up front." And in my infinite ignorance, I said, "Okay, fine, put her up there. 5 minutes after that, she scores 2 goals, and she goes, okay, I can go back now. So she goes back to defense. We end up winning that game 3-1. It's just, it was incredible to coach these girls, to work with these girls, and to see the accomplishments they have. And if you look at them and talk to them, that work ethic, that ability to achieve is still going on today. They're coaching, they're executives, they're doing a lot of things that are just incredible in life. They become incredible people, and I'm blessed to have coached them. So I'd like to thank the Hall of Honor staff for recognizing this team. They're very well deserved. Last thing I want to say, Coach Poe, I know there was an article after this team won that said McKinney was becoming a soccer town. Well, all of that started with you. All the competition, that drive to win, everything in this town came from you, and it carries into all the sports, not just football. So thank you. On behalf of McKinney Boyd, the 2008 team, thank you all very much. This is an honor for them as well. Thank you. Oh, I got to thank my wife. She was a special part of this as well. Thank you, baby.
Thank you, inductees. That was quite an amazing event. I think for those of us that are former athletes sitting in the room, we are reminded daily how I think athletics just really defines who we are. And, during those younger years of our life, we don't realize some of the lessons that we're learning until we get a little bit older. And we start to just understand that, kind of our experiences as an athlete definitely help propel us to future things as we get older. So thank you for sharing your experiences. Thank you for being here. McKinney ISD truly is. I did grow up down the road, and so I did not grow up in McKinney ISD, but I can tell you that McKinney ISD truly is an amazing place to be. So we appreciate you being here. We would like all the current today's inductees and past inductees, if you would come forward, we want to take a group picture. And then families who, inductees, if you were inducted today, if you would like to step out on the patio, as you know, this is our new stadium and community event center. It's a great shot. If you want to shoot off into the field, feel free to do that. If you would like to step out there with your family for some photo opportunities. And beyond that, we'll be dismissed. Thank you again for coming, and safe travels on your way home. Appreciate it.